Good afternoon and welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Michelle, and this is our Bible study of John by Dr. David Jeremiah. And let's get going. Good afternoon, Miss Cindy, Miss Lisa. Welcome, welcome. Let's get going here. The eye-opening experience. John 9 through chapters 9 through 10. Getting started. What would your friends say if someone asks them what impact Jesus has had on your life? Setting the stage. The authors of the Gospels rarely revealed what happened to people after Jesus healed them, but one story told in John 9 is an exception. In this account, Jesus restored a blind man's sight. That singular event triggered a variety of expected and unexpected responses. The men's neighbors reacted first. They had known the man being blind from birth. The fact that he was now different, that his vacant stare had been replaced with a light in his expression, surprised and confused them. Some of them wondered if he actually the same person they had known. Then the man assured them that he was. That he had two questions: how are your eyes opened? And where is the one who opened them? The Jewish leaders also reacted. A group of Pharisees were quickly assigned to investigate the story. The man told them how Jesus had spat on the ground, made clay, and placed the mud on his eyes. He told them how, after washing away the clay, he could see for the very first time in his life. The Pharisees were livid that Jesus had done such work on the Sabbath, and they wondered how a sinner can do such miracles. They tried to get the man to recount his story, but he refused. So they threw him out of the temple. The man's parents were afraid that they also would be banned from the temple. So when they were asked about their son's healing, they only said that he was their son and that he was born blind. They were afraid of what they would lose if they confirmed the miracle. Explore the text. A man born blind receives sight. John 9, 1 through 12. Now as Jesus passed by, he saw a man who was blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered that neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of God may be revealed in him. I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. The night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Then he had said these things. He spat on the ground and made clay with his saliva. He anointed the eyes of the blind man with clay, then said to him, Go and wash in the pool of Siloam, which translated sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. Therefore the neighbors and those who previously had seen that he was blind, is not this the man who sat and begged? Someone said, This is he. The other said, He is just like him. He said, I am he. Therefore they said to him, How are your eyes opened? He answered them and said, A man called Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes and said to me, Go to the pool of Siloam and wash. So I went and washed and received my sight. Then they said to him, Where is he? He said, I do not know. The first question. What question did the disciples ask Jesus when he saw that the man who was blind from birth? What assumptions did they have that about the man or his parents? They wanted to know who had sinned, that he was blind. Was it him or was it his parents that he had been born blind? I'm going to look at this again, because how could he have been? I'm going to look at this again. You said this man or his parents that he was born blind. How can they ask if this man sinned before he was even born to be blinded? So that kind of just got me going, it was his parents. Had done nothing. Nobody had done nothing. It was assumed that they had. It was just assumed that either he or his parents had sinned. Question number 2. How did the man's neighbors and acquaintances respond when they realized that he had been healed from a lifelong blindness. Verses 8 through 12. They didn't believe it was him. Everybody that saw him, who knew who he was, thought, no, that's not him, it's somebody else. When he had confirmed that it was him and that he was healed, they made him keep repeating the story. What happened? Who did it? How did it happen? And even the Pharisees kept asking him, who did it? You know. So they were wanting to know how it was done and who had done it. And then again, how was it done? Who did it? Are you sure? So let's see. The Pharisees investigate the healing. We're in John 9:16 through 41. Therefore, some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God because he does not keep the Sabbath. Others said, how can a man who is a sinner do such signs? And there was a division among them. Then they said to the blind man again, what do you have to say about him because he opened your eyes? He said he is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight, till they called the parents of him who had received his sight. And they said to them, is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? His parents answered them and said, we know that he is our son, and that he was born blind. But by what means he sees we do not know, for who opened his eyes we do not know. He is of age, ask him. He will speak for himself. His parents said these things because they feared the Jews. For the Jews had agreed already that anyone confessed that Jesus was Christ, he would be put out of the synagogue. Therefore his parents said, he is of age, ask him. So again they called the man who was blind and said to him, give God the glory. We know that this man is a sinner. He said, whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I know, that though I was blind, I now see. And then they said to him again, what did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? He answered them, I've already told you. You did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples? Then they reviled him and said, you are his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spoke to Moses. As far as this fellow, we do not know where he comes from. The man answered and said to them, why, this is a marvelous thing that you do not know where he came from, yet he opened my eyes. Now we know that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is worshiper of God and does his will, he hears him. Since the world began, it has been unheard of for anyone's opened the eyes of one who was born blind. For this man did not come from God, he could do nothing. They answered him and said, you are completely born in sins, and you are teaching us. And they cast him out. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and when he found him, he said, do you believe in the Son of God? Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him? And Jesus said to him, you have both seen him, and it is he who is talking to you. He then said, Lord, I believe, and worshipped him. Jesus said, for judgment I have come into this world, that those who do not see may see, and those who see may be made blind. Then some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words and said to him, are we also blind? He said to them, if you were blind, you would not sin. But now you say we see, therefore your sin remains. Question number 3. How did the people respond when the man told them about his miraculous healings? We're looking at verses 16 through 19. 16 through 19. Let's see. No, the Pharisees were saying that he couldn't be, the man couldn't be from God. Jesus couldn't be from God because he doesn't keep the Sabbath. And then they were saying that how does a sinner do such things? And again, they're going, what do you say about him? He opened his eyes. And then the man who was healed said he's a prophet. The Jews did not believe concerning him. He had been blind and received his sight until they called his parents. They wouldn't even believe the man himself who had been blind and they knew was blind. They had to get his parents in there and say, okay, your son said he's blind. Is he really blind? Was he blind? Yes, that's our son. Let him tell you because he's of age. Because they were more afraid of being kicked out of the synagogue than being truthful about what Jesus had done for their son. Question number 4. What did Jesus do when he learned the man had been cast out of the temple? How did the man react when he realized Jesus was the one who had healed him? He asked him if let me make sure I pronounce this correctly. I say this correctly. Okay. He asked if he believed in the Son of God. He asked him, "Who is he, Lord?" And Jesus told him that he could see him and talking to him. So he just told him, "I believe." And that was it. He believed and he praised God. Okay, the Good Shepherd, John 10, 1 through 15. Most assuredly I say to you, he does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs up some other way. The same is a thief, a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he brings out his own sheep, he goes before them. The sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Yet there will be no means follow a stranger, but will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. Then Jesus said to them again, "Most assuredly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who come before me, all who come before me are thieves and robbers. The sheep did not hear them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved, and will go in and out and find pastures. The thief does not come except to kill, steal, and destroy. And I have come that you may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for his sheep. But a hireling, he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. The wolf catches the sheep and scatters them. The hireling flees because he is a hireling, and does not care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known by my own. As the Father knows me, even so I know the Father. I lay down my life for the sheep. Question number 5. Unlike the religious leaders who sought only to force their interpretation of God's laws on the people, Jesus came to care for them as a good shepherd to his flock. How does Jesus say that people will recognize him? That he is the true shepherd. They will hear it when they hear his voice. When they hear his voice, that they will know who he is. Yes, and the sheep know his voice. What did Jesus say? He came to bring all who follow him. Let me go back to 10. What did Jesus say he came to bring to all that follow him? He came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. This is true. Further conflict over Jesus' claim. John 10:22 through 39. Now it was the feast of dedication in Jerusalem, and it was winter, and Jesus walked in the temple of Solomon's porch. Then the Jews surrounded him and said to him, "How long do you keep us in doubt? Are you the Christ? Tell us plainly." He answered them, "I told you, and you do not believe. The work that I have done in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But you do not believe because you are not of my sheep, as I told you. I said to you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I have given them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of the Father's hand. I and my Father are one. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Jesus answered them, Many good works have I shown you from my Father. For which of those do you stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, For a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy, because you say, Being a man, make yourself God. Jesus answered them, Is it not written in your law that you are gods? If he called them gods, to whom the word God came, the scriptures cannot be broken. Do you do you say of him who the Father sanctified, sent into the world, You are blaspheming because I said I am the Son of God? If I did not do the works of the Father, do not believe me. But if I do, though you do not believe me, believe the works, that you may know and believe that the Father is in me and I am him. Therefore they sought again to seize him, but he escaped out of their hands. Hi, Mr. Aretha. Welcome, welcome. Question number 7. How did Jesus respond when the Jewish leaders said asked if he was the Christ? According to Jesus, why would they not believe? They asked, but they didn't. They saw what he did, but they still would not put the learning into it. They would not go that one step further and say, yes, you are the Son of God. They just couldn't do it. It didn't make sense to them. I think that Jesus actually, during that time frame, they were blind. They were blinded and could not get past the teachings. They couldn't see what was right in front of them at that time. Question number 8. Why do the religious leaders want to kill Jesus? What test did Jesus suggest they employed to judge whether his claims were accurate? See verses 31 through 38. Okay. So Jesus is saying, I have shown you many good works have I shown you from my Father. Which of those do you stone me? And they're saying, we're not, for good works we do not stone you. It's for blasphemy, because you said, because you, being a man, make yourself God. Is this not written in your law? You are gods. If he called them gods, to whom the world is of God. Let me repeat this again. I'm sorry. If he calls them gods, to whom the word of God came, and these scriptures cannot be broken, do you say of him who the Father sanctified and sent into the world, You are blaspheming, because I said I am the Son of God? I do not do the works of the. If I do not do the works of my Father, I do not believe me. So what he's saying is, look, I've done all this stuff. You've seen it. If I hadn't done it, then don't believe me. But it's right there in black and white. You can see everything I've done. It's right there. So you know that God had sent me to you. At least believe that much. But they didn't. Question number 8. Oh, that was number 8. I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to review now. Review the story. Jesus performed a number of miracles during his ministry, but the healing of the man born blind was especially profound. However, the Jewish religious leaders failed to recognize its importance. They only saw that Jesus healed on the Sabbath, which they felt was against Jewish law, and tried to kill him because he claimed to be God. Jesus sparred with them, but his focus was always on his followers and those who were receptive to his teachings. He truly was the good shepherd who cared for and protected his flock. Question number 9. Then the disciples passed by the man born blind. Jesus assured him that the man's condition was not due to anyone's sin. What surprise reason did Jesus suggest was the actual cause of the man's blindness? The actual cause was so that the Lord could be seen, so they get the correct words here. I'm going to make sure that I use exactly the correct word in here. 1 through 3. Neither the man nor his parents sinned, but the works of God should be revealed in him. Okay. So that's what that was about, is that the works of God would be revealed in him. Question number 10. What reason did the man born blind give to the religious leaders as to why he believed that Jesus was sent from God? Who but anyone from God could heal the blind? Who from anybody, other than that was sent from God could heal the blind? Because nobody had heard of somebody being born blind to receive their sight. Question 11. What did Jesus say was the difference between his ministry and that of the religious leaders? How did Jesus reveal that his message of salvation was not just for the Jewish people, but for the entire world? Let's see, John 10:11 through 16. 11 through 16. Okay, let's read what this says. I'm the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. But a hireling is not the shepherd, but one who does not own the sheep, and sees the wolf coming, leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf catches the sheep and scatters them. The hireling flees because he is a hireling and does not care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known by my own. As the Father knows me, so even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. In that, Jesus didn't specify the sheep in Israel, the sheep in Jordan, the sheep in Jerusalem. He said all the sheep. So that's what covers how it's the entire world, is that it covers that. Question number 12. Why do you think the Jewish religious leaders refused to even consider the possibility that Jesus was who he claimed to be? I don't think they could handle it personally. It would take so much from them what they believed that it was just too overwhelming for them to even think about. Let's see. Let's read that over again. Let me see how far we go. I think it's 31, but I'm going to check. Yeah, 25 through 30. Jesus said to them, I told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But you do not believe, because you are not of my sheep, as I said to you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them eternal life, that they shall never perish, neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. My Father, who has given them to me, is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hands. I and my Father are one. Why do you think the Jewish leaders refused to even consider the possibility that Jesus was who he claimed to be? Because he kept saying, I and the Father are one, and he just wasn't seeing it. Just was not seeing it at all. Now let's apply the message. When the Pharisees tried to debate the man who had been healed by Jesus, he said, one thing I know, that though I was blind, I now see. That was in John 9:25. If someone tried to debate with you over your experience with Jesus, how would you respond? Question 14. Jesus' enemies claimed that he had a demon or that he was crazy. How do opponents of Jesus try to dismiss him today? Folklore. He's just was a good person, and that's it. It was a long time ago. It's none of it's true. So there's many ways that today that they are saying that that Jesus is not who he says he is. Now, reflecting on the meaning, let's see what this has to say. Jesus' interactions with the man born blind revealed three timeless truths for believers today. The first of these truths is that religion is not the best place to learn about Christ. Religion's attempt to reach up to God through what we do. Christianity is God reaching down to us through what Christ did on our behalf. A man born blind tried to find answers and tried to explain what happened to him in the context of religion. It did not work. The second truth is that resistance is not a liberty, but an asset to our spiritual growth. Coming to know Jesus Christ does not solve all of our problems or guarantee smooth sailing for the rest of our lives. After the blind man encountered Christ, he was ostracized by his neighbors and banished from the synagogue by the religious rulers. Yet through it all, he found his relationship with Christ strengthening. In the same way, if we encounter resistance because of what Jesus has done for us, we shouldn't be too quick to try to pray away our strength. God may be strengthening our spiritual muscles and preparing us for work he has ahead. The third truth is regeneration is not a matter of how overwhelming evidence, but a matter of how an encounter. Excuse me, let me repeat again. Let's try this again. The third truth is the regeneration is not a matter of having overwhelming evidence, but a matter of having an encounter with Christ. The Jewish leaders had all the evidence they needed about Jesus. Standing before them was a man born blind who could see. Never before had such a miracle been performed. Yet no one of proof, reasoning, or education could make them accept Christ. The blind man knew more about Jesus in an instant than the religious leaders would ever learn, all because he had a personal encounter with Jesus. Journaling your response. How will you react the next time you face opposition because of your relationship with Christ? That's something for all of us to think about. How will we respond when that happens to us? I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and listening to me and listening to the scriptures today. We're going to be in chapters 11, just chapter 11 next week, it looks like. So I hope to see you there, and hopefully, prayerfully, I will see you here again on YouTube for our Friday free for all. Love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you then. Bye now. Bye, Teresa. Bye, Cindy. Bye, Doretha. Bye, Lisa. Y'all have wonderful days. Bye now.